About 1137, a new dynasty came to power in the Christian highland, known as the Zagwe in the Ageo district of Lasta. It developed naturally out of long cultural and political contacts between the Cushitic and the Semitic-speaking peoples in the northern highland. The staunch Christians, the Zagwe, devoted themselves to the construction of new churches and monasteries. These were often modeled after Christian religious edifices in the Holy Land. A local Zagwe and their subjects held in special esteem, patrons of literature, the arts, in service of Christianity. The Zagwe kings were responsible, among other things, for the great churches carved into the rock in and around the capital at Adefa. In time, Adefa became known as Lailibela, the name of the Zagwe king to whom the Adefa church's construction has been attributed. By the time the Zagwe, the Ethiopian church was showing effects of long centuries of isolation. From the larger Christian and Orthodox world. After the 7th century, when Egypt succumbed to the Arab conquest, the highland saw contact with outside Christianity with the Coptic Church of Egypt, which periodically supplied a patriarch or a boon upon royal request. During the long period from the 7th and the 12th century, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church came to place strong emphasis upon the Old Testament, on the Judaic roots of the church. Christianity in Ethiopia became imbued with Old Testament belief practice in many ways, which differentiated it not only from the European Christianity but also from the faith of other monophysites, such as the Copts of Egypt. Under the Zagwe, the Highlanders maintained regular contact with the Egyptians. Also by then, the Ethiopian church has demonstrated that it was not a proselytizing religion, but rather one that by and large restricted its attention to already converted areas of the highland. Not until the 14th and 15th centuries, did the church demonstrate a real interest in proselytizing among non-believers. Then it did so via reinvigorated monastic movement. That was the Agwe. Ethiopia's royal dynasties have always been proud of their bloodline, but what most people don't know is many of them claimed Jewish descent. One dynasty, the Zagwe, said they came from Moses through his father-in-law Jethro's family. Another, the Solomonic dynasty, claimed direct descent from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Why? Because in Ethiopia, being connected to Israel's ancient kings wasn't just about faith, it was about power. But if Jewish bloodlines were once a source of pride in Ethiopia's rulers, why did so many people forget they had them? Over centuries, Ethiopia went through waves of religious transformation. Christianity became the state religion. Later, Islam spread through trade and conquest. And in both cases, whole communities converted, often by force, but traditions have a way of surviving quietly. Ethiopian Christians still follow certain Old Testament customs, circumcisions on the 8th day, avoiding pork, and mourning rituals to mirror Jewish law. Ethiopian Muslims too keep traditions that echo the Torah. Most people never ask why, they just call it our culture. Ethiopia's Jewish history isn't just the story of Beta Israel or the House of Israel, the famous Jewish community that kept its faith for centuries. It's the story of a whole civilization shaped by Jewish influence, even when it's hidden. Archaeologists find Hebrew inscriptions in places you would never expect. Oral traditions speak of tribes who came from Israel, and trade routes connect Ethiopia with Jerusalem, Yemen, and Egypt long before most of Europe even knew Africa existed. It wasn't a small minority, this was part of the foundation. In the 1980s and the 90s, Israel carried out secret missions to bring thousands of Ethiopian Jews to safety, called Operation Moses and Operation Solomon, respectively. But what about the millions left behind? Those who converted to Christianity, but their DNA still hold their ancient ancestry. The one who don't even know their ancestry. I think about the journeys of people who have those DNA are now converted to Islam, who renounce their ancient past. How many of those Ethiopians walking around have those ancient DNAs, but choose to ignore them because of religious reasons? History is so used as a tool of propaganda for a long time. History is written by the victors, as we all know, and sometimes history gets mixed into conspiracy theories. Now we have people from America claiming to be descendants of Jacob and David, but the actual people who were descendants from the people and are close to the regions have the same DNA to this day have entirely forgot their history. Back to the old dynasties. The dynasties of the Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia and the Zagwe dynasty back to the 7th and 11th century, who still had a connection and a recent memory of their ancestry. And now cut to modern day, where people have long forgotten and are entrenched into false narratives and propaganda. But we have Jews of all different races. We have from North Africa and Morocco to Yemen to Egypt to Spain and also to Europe, the Ashkenazim. But modern day propaganda has gone too far, where they only focus on one tribe of Jacob. And this history and this information is to open your eyes to the different kinds of the chosen people.